What are you hearing from European businesses right now working in Hong Kong?
Well, we have 1,600 European companies in Hong Kong. It's more than the number of companies we have in Japan or in the US, and it's getting close to the number of companies we have in mainland China. Our companies are here because they are in China, but they are enjoying a different system. And it's a system which provides rule of law, which protects basic rights and freedoms. Here you don't have censorship on internet, you have WhatsApp, you have Facebook, you have freedom of expression and association. So the added value of Hong Kong is definitely the one country, two systems. Our companies are in a wait-and-see mood. Some of them were already affected by the economic slowdown and the recession in the last month. We don't see any immediate movement, but medium to long term, the companies will have to review their business strategies, and there is an impression that the goalposts in Hong Kong are moving.
The security legislation is still being worked on. What sort of conversations are you having with either Beijing or Hong Kong on what could be included?
Well, the legislation is being drafted by the MPC Standing Committee. What we are asking the Hong Kong government is how much the Hong Kong government or the institutions are involved in this drafting process, and how much the concerns of Hong Kong will be taken into consideration. And we are reiterating also our views, and I think there are a lot of legitimate questions regarding some aspects that have already been flagged by the media.
Ambassador, are you hearing sort of, I guess, practical discussions about what alternatives there are to EU businesses? In which ways can they pivot? Or is there a willingness to, I guess, embrace the situation and perhaps even look forward to a level of certainty that any legislation could bring?
I think the decision of the MPC and also the many questions about the legislation and the drafting process bring uncertainty and unpredictability, and obviously this is not good for business. But we don't see any winners. If Hong Kong changes, if Hong Kong becomes another Chinese city, I mean, nobody will win. And China will not win either, because they need Hong Kong. And they need Hong Kong also as a gateway to the world, to raise capital for the Chinese companies. Hong Kong is also the first renminbi offshore center. So I think we are all interested in preserving the uniqueness of Hong Kong, and which is based on the one country, two systems, to clarify uncertainty and to rebuild trust, which has been eroded on the principle of one country, two systems.
What alternatives are being discussed amongst businesses there? What realistically are the alternatives for EU businesses should a worst-case scenario arise?
Well, right now, as I have said, our companies are on a wait-and-see mood. It is a moment of unpredictability all over the world. There are not so many options if you are thinking about capital flight, for instance, or relocation. So in this time of global crisis, I mean, our companies will not move. They are here. But medium to long term, I mean, business strategies will have to be reviewed, and then it will be up to our companies to decide. We don't tell our companies what to do. They decide themselves. And that's why it's so important to rebuild trust on the principle of one country, two systems that we see being eroded and undermined.
Ambassador, will Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong help accelerate European efforts to have a more unified response to China's influence?
Well, I think the European Union has been united in the reaction and in the answer to this decision of the MPC. We had two statements which were made by the High Representative, Mr. Borrell, and which were made on behalf of the 27 member states. It's quite rare that we have this kind of a statement, and it shows a united concern, a common concern there, and a united reaction.
The UK has now announced that they are considering whether or not to give British national overseas passport holders in Hong Kong a path to UK citizenship. What's the future for Hong Kong hold now?
Well, I mean, regarding the British decision, I mean, we will need to see how it materializes. And in any case, it's something that I will not comment. You should ask the British colleagues about that. I mean, regarding what will happen next, well, I think we are all waiting to see how this legislation will come out, how it will be implemented, how rule of law will be the key, will remain the key of the Hong Kong system. And let me add that part of Hong Kong's success is the fact that it is an international city. And it is attractive. It's full of talented people. And it's not only business. I mean, here you have the best journalists, the best professors, the best researchers, NGOs, think tanks. And it's important to preserve this identity, this international identity of the city. I think it is, and we hope that it will remain like that. But once again, it's important that confidence and trust on the one country, two systems is fully restored.